Hello friends, and welcome back to another reading of My Father's Dragon. Well, I have had some more responses to this story on Seesaw. I got a response from Aubriana, and she said that if she was going on an adventure like Elmer is doing, that she would bring a toothbrush, toothpaste, water, food, and clothes. And you have to see this great picture of the dragon that Gray drew. Isn't it fantastic? Well, as I told you in the last video, this is chapter 7 that we're reading today, and it is titled My Father Meets a Lion. Well, my friend Lillian, she replied to me on Seesaw, and she thinks that he will not get eaten by the lion today. She thinks that perhaps Elmer has something in his backpack that will help save him from the lion. Do you agree? Let's find out. Here we go. Chapter 7. My Father Meets a Lion. My father waved goodbye to the rhinoceros, who was much too busy to notice. He got a drink farther down the brook and then waded back to the trail. He hadn't gone very far when he heard an angry animal roaring.
"Dang blast it! I told you not to go blackberrying yesterday. Wouldn't you even learn? What will your mother say?"
My father crept along, peering into the small clearing just ahead. A lion was prancing about, clawing at his mane, which was all snarled and full of blackberry twigs. The more he clawed, the worse it became, and the madder he grew. And the more he yelled at himself, because it was only himself that he was yelling at the whole time. My father could see that the trail went right through the clearing, so he decided to crawl around the edge of it in the underbrush and not to disturb the lion. He crawled, and the yelling grew louder and louder. Just as he was about to reach the trail on the other side, the yelling suddenly stopped. My father looked around and saw the lion glaring at him. The lion charged and skidded to a stop just a few inches away.
"Who are you?"
The lion yelled at my father. My name is Elmer Elevator."
"What do you think you are doing?"
I'm going home," said my father.
"That's what you think,"
said the lion.
"Ordinarily, I would save you for afternoon tea, but I happen to be very upset enough and hungry enough to eat you right now."
And then he picked up my father in his front paws to feel how fat he was. My father said, "Oh, please, lion, before you eat me, tell me why you are so particularly upset today."
"It's my mane,"
said the lion, as he was figuring out just how many bites it would take to eat this little boy.
"You see what a dreadful mess it is, and I don't seem to be able to do anything about it. My mother is coming over on the dragon this afternoon, and if she sees me this way, I'm afraid she'll stop my allowance. She can't stand a messy mane. But I'm gonna eat you now, so this won't make any difference to you."
"Oh, wait a minute," said my father. "I'll give you just the things you need to make your mane tidy and beautiful. I have everything right here in my pack."
"You do?"
said the lion.
"Well, give it to me. Perhaps then I'll save you for afternoon tea."
And then he put my father down on the ground. My father opened the pack and took out the comb and the brush and the 7 hair ribbons of different colors. "Look," he said, "I'll show you what to do right here on your forelock where you can watch me. First, you brush a while, then you comb, and then you brush again until all the twigs and snarls are gone. And then you divide it up into 3 pieces and you braid it like this, and then you tie a ribbon around the end." As my father was doing this, the lion watched very carefully and began to look much, much happier. When my father tied the ribbon, he was all smiles.
"Oh, that's wonderful, really wonderful," said the
lion.
"Let me have the comb and the brush and see if I can do it."
So my father gave him the comb and the brush, and the lion began busily grooming his mane. As a matter of fact, he was so busy that he didn't even know that my father had left. Chapter 8. My Father Meets a Gorilla. My father was very hungry, so he sat down under a baby banyan tree on the side of the trail, and he ate 4 tangerines. He wanted to eat 8 of them or 10 of them, but he only had 13 left, and it might be a long time before he could get more. He packed away all the peels and was about to get up when he heard a familiar voice. He heard the boars.
I wouldn't believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, but wait until you see for yourself. All the tigers are sitting around chewing gum to beat the band. The old rhinoceros is so busy brushing out his tusk that he doesn't even look around to see what's going by. And they're all so busy, they won't talk to me.
Oh, horse feathers, said the other boar, now very close to my father. They'll talk to me. I'm going to get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing I do. Then the voices passed my father, and they went around a curve. And he hurried on because he knew how much more upset those boars would be when they saw the lion's mane all braided and tied in hair bows. Before long, my father came to the crossroads, and he stopped to read the signs. Straight ahead, an arrow pointed to the beginning of the river. To the left, the ocean rocks, and to the right, to the Dragon Ferry. My father was reading all these signs when he heard paw steps, and he ducked behind a signpost. A beautiful lioness paraded past him and turned down toward the clearings. Although she could have seen my father if she had bothered glancing at the post, she did not, because she was much too occupied looking dignified to see anything but the tip of her own nose. It was the lioness. It was the lion's mother, of course, and that, thought my father, must mean that the dragon was on this side of the river. He hurried on, but it was farther away than he had judged. He finally came to the river bank in the late afternoon, and he looked all around. There was no dragon anywhere in sight. He must have gone back to the other side, my father thought. My father sat down under a palm tree and was trying to have a good idea when something big and black and hairy jumped out of a tree and landed with a crash right at his feet. "Well?" said a very huge voice. "Well, what?" said my father, for which he was very sorry when he looked up and discovered that he was talking to an enormous and very fierce gorilla. "Well, explain yourself," said the gorilla. "I'll give you till 10 to tell me your name, business, your age, and what's in that pack." And then he began counting to 10 as fast as he could. My father didn't even have time to say Elmer Elevator Explorer before the gorilla interrupted. "Too slow! I'll twist your arms the way I twist that dragon's wings, and then we'll see if you can't hurry up a bit." And then he grabbed my father's arms, one in each fist, and he was just about to twist them when he suddenly let go and began scratching his chest with both of his hands. "Lost those fleas!" he raged. "They won't give you a moment's peace, and the worst is that you can't even have a good look at them. Rosie, Rhoda, Rachel, Ruthie, Ruby, Roberta! Come here and get rid of these fleas on my chest. They're driving me crazy!" So the 6 little monkeys tumbled out of a palm tree and dashed onto the gorilla, and they began combing the hair on his chest. "Well," said the gorilla, "is it there?" We're looking, said the 6 little monkeys. "But they're up there to see. You know that, you know that." "Yes, I know," said the gorilla, "but hurry, I've got work to do." And then he winked at my father. "Oh, gorilla," said my father, "in my knapsack I have 6 magnifying glasses. They'd be just the thing for hunting fleas." My father unpacked them and gave one to Rosie, one to Rhoda, one to Rachel, one to Ruthie, one to Ruby, and one to Roberta. "Why, they're miraculous," said the 6 little monkeys. "It's easy to see the fleas now, only there are hundreds of them." And then they went on hunting frantically. A moment later, many more monkeys appeared out of a nearby clump of mangroves and began crowding around to get a look at the fleas through the magnifying glass. They completely surrounded the gorilla, and he could not see my father, nor did he remember to twist my father's arms. And now we're going to be reading tomorrow chapters 9 and 10. And chapter 9 is called My Father Makes a Bridge. So far, he's heard about the dragon, Elmer has, and he saw a sign saying that it was leading to the dragon, but he still hasn't found the dragon. What do you predict will happen in the next couple of chapters? Do you think he's ever going to find that dragon? Also, do you think he'll meet any other interesting animals, like the gorilla or the lion that he met today? I'd love to hear what you think is going to happen next. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.